Have you ever been overwhelmed by voting when you're in the polling booth, there's been a whole election campaign and you still don't know who to vote for? Sometimes it can seem kind of complicated, but trust me, it's actually simpler than you might think. Just quickly, you'll need to be enrolled first, otherwise you'll be turned away. You need to be an Australian citizen who's 18 or over and register with the Australian Electoral Commission. So now you're on the electoral roll. Fast forward through all of that campaigning.
We need a lettuce, yeah.
What's your favourite type of lettuce?
Morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, that's lovely! That is perfect.
They'll ask for your name and address, but you don't need to provide ID before you're given two forms, a small one and a really big one. Let's start with the small one for the lower house. Quick refresher, the lower house is made up of 151 seats representing local areas around Australia, where you'll find the opposition leader and the Prime Minister. We actually don't vote our Prime Minister in, we get their party in, because they're actually just another member of Parliament representing a local area. So on election day, parties are all jostling to get your vote on this bit of paper to get their candidates into as many seats as they can, because that's how they win government. The thing is, the more you know about the parties and what their priorities are, the more you can make sure your vote reflects what you want to see the government do. So it's important to find out exactly what your candidates stand for. So you know a bit about who you want to vote for and you've got that piece of paper and you're in the booth. Let's get into preferential voting. It sounds fancy, but I promise it's not actually that complicated. Basically, you just number the candidates in the order you'd like to see them elected. So next to each candidate, there's an empty square. You vote by numbering each square, starting with a 1 next to your top pick. This is called your first preference. Then you need to number every box in order of who you'd rather represent you until there are no more boxes left. Preferential voting means a candidate needs 50% to win. If they don't do that with first preferences or 1 votes, then the candidate with the least votes overall is excluded. Their votes are transferred to your next preferences. But what about this much bigger form? This is where you select who you want to represent your state or territory in the upper house, known as the Senate. The Senate keeps the lower house in check, kind of like a second pair of eyes on your assignment, but like the assignment is running the country. And there are often heaps of people running for the Senate, which is why the paper is so big. With this form, you can go above the line or below the line. If you go above the line, you're saying which parties you want in the Senate. If you go below the line, you decide the exact order of candidates you want to see in the Senate. To vote above the line, you have to number at least 6 parties in order of which ones you'd like to see elected, but you can number more if you're keen. When you do this, your preferences initially go to the group of candidates from the party you've put first, then those who you've put second, until all of your preferences have been distributed. If you want to pick and choose a specific order of candidates, vote below the line. To do this, you have to number at least 12 boxes, but you can do all of them if you want. Voting below the line means you can select a mix of candidates from across parties. Maybe you want Sugar from BTS in the Senate, but not all of BTS, and you'd rather have Harry Styles instead. Voting below the line allows you to do this, but with politicians. Okay, so that's how you vote, but where do you go to do it? You can vote by post if you can't make it to a polling place for accessibility reasons. But if you go on election day, you'll probably be able to get one of these. So you rock up on election day and there are lots of people in brightly coloured t-shirts loitering out the front handing out how to vote cards, which are flyers showing you how each party would like you to vote. They can be pretty persistent. Sometimes just getting to the booth can feel a bit intense. But remember, you don't have to take one if you don't want to. It's just a guide. It's how they want you to vote. But this is your vote. You can use it however you like.